very good afternoon to you all and welcome to UBC News Tonight this Tuesday, the 3rd day of September 2024. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language, it is Yusuf Senyum and I am Rukidi Kiijanangoma. Now, members of parliament have met with President Yoweri Museveni to discuss the potential removal of Uganda Coffee Development Authority, UCDA, through the government's rationalization process of agencies. Members of parliament emphasize the importance of retaining these organizations to avoid losses experienced in other nations. Let's get more in this story.
Previously, Parliament merged some government administrations with the aim of reducing expenditure and avoiding duplication of roles. However, the removal of the Coffee Development Authority is still under debate. Members of the NRM caucus in Parliament have met with President Museveni to discuss and share ideas on the proposed merger of UCDA.
If they are to bring it under agriculture, at the end of the day, maybe it will not be so vibrant the way it is now. So I feel coffee should remain independent.
Before heading to State House, members of Parliament expressed their intent to listen to the President and reach a consensus on reviving the organization under the Ministry of Agriculture.
Bino bwe tumara okuteesaganya ne President tulowooza nga mukulu w'eggwanga ajja kujjamu ekiteeso ekirungi ekigatta UCDA n'eba nga evuddewo naye nga emirimu gyayo emikulu giteereddwa mu department nga giri strategic.
Abedwanika, an opposition MP, stated that they will resist the idea of removing UCDA, which has been instrumental in adding value to coffee.
The President that this commodity coffee supports 12 million people of Uganda, and mostly these low people. When you rationalize UCDA and take it to the ministry does not have capacity. We are going to lose market, we are going to lose the quality.
That we have now hit $1 billion in terms of revenue from coffee, so we can only harness those benefits, and we think by rationalizing UCDA, we may actually lose some of those benefits.
Under the rationalization agreement of government agencies, Parliament and its various committees are expected to recommend retaining UCDA, arguing that merging it in the ministry would weaken its operations. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwetabenji at Parliament.
Now, Uganda has been selected to host the 11th session of the African Regional Forum on Sustainable Development, scheduled for April 2025. The Deputy Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, Antonio Pedro, is in Uganda to kickstart preparations and assess the country's readiness to host the continental event. Antonio Pedro also paid a courtesy call to the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabanja.
Following the successful hosting of the Non-Allied Movement NAM and G77 plus China earlier this year, Uganda has once again been chosen to host another continental event. Uganda will in April 2025 host the 11th session of the African Regional Forum on Sustainable Development. Following this development, the Deputy Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, Antonio Pedro, is in Uganda to kickstart preparations and assess Uganda's readiness to host the continental event.
So when we received your letter, it was really very pleased, and we look forward to together building this event.
Antonio Pedro was speaking this morning during a courtesy call to the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabanja.
Uganda is committed to ensuring that the event is not just a forum, but a transformative platform that will advance the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the African Union's Agenda of the 2063.
The continental event will be hosted under the theme, Driving Job Creation and Economic Growth for Sustainable Inclusive Science and Evidence-Based Solutions for the 2030 and Agenda 2063.
We see this as a chance to contribute meaningfully to a broader global discourse on sustainability and showcase our nation's effort and achievements in this regard.
I think we do have the confidence that Uganda can host this. Uganda has the capacity to host this. And it's a very important moment, I think, to be discussing development issues on this continent.
Like the right honourable you put it, we are actually ready. We can say we are ready and we are in full swing in the preparations.
Our hands are open. We want your advice. We want to get to know what you people expect from us.
The Prime Minister of Uganda, Robinah Nabbanja, who has just returned from the Kingdom of Tonga, an island country in the Southern Pacific area with a population of about 100,000 people.
Yes, we are all developing countries, but there are those that are still struggling. God gave us, in fact, we have no excuse why we are not developed. We have no reason whatsoever to say Uganda is underdeveloped. Since that day, I came back a reformed leader. And Ugandans must appreciate that we have the best in the world. I'm telling you. For them, disasters are no more.
Pedro called on Uganda and other African countries to put emphasis on disregarding the current global financial architecture, which does not favor African countries from financing their own development agenda.
General and everybody else is really asking for reform. So again, utilizing the RFSD to reiterate that message.
The global financing architecture does not favor us. And so the moment we come together,
the Prime Minister's office is expected to organize a presidential debate for the heads of state who will be attending the conference.
I can see you want to have a presidential debate. And that now means my president has to invite his colleagues.
Uganda, of course, once again to host that high-level meeting. Now, the Presidential CEO Forum will host its 5th biannual CEO retreat in Gulu City, scheduled for September 12th to 14th this year. The forum aims to promote private sector engagement in Uganda's development agenda. This year's theme is Battle to Greenfield, transforming northern Uganda into a commercialized production and logistics hub for exports. President Yoweri Museveni is expected to be the chief guest at this event, which is expected to attract over 1,000 indigenous CEOs from the northern region of Uganda, along with development partners, representatives from MDAs, political, cultural, and religious leaders.
And after that, we shall have a group.
Gulu is one of those regional cities in the north, but then the forum will be looking at the greater north, meaning that we shall have participation from the West Nile region, we'll have participation from the Acholi sub-region, we shall have participation from the Lao sub-region, and then Karamoja. Markets locally, but also market regionally. We will come up with resolutions of how can we tap more into the market provided by the East African community. How can we utilize the market provided by COMESA? How can we take advantage of the market provided by SADC? And then more recently, of course, the African continental free trade area as well.
We are looking at increased volume of trade between Uganda, between South Sudan and DRC. We are looking at industrial growth and employment opportunities for the people of northern Uganda. As the Honorable Minister has talked about, we are actually promoting agro-industrialization, and we are also supporting agricultural growth.
Main role of the Ministry of Agriculture, the main role of the government now is to guide the private sector about the most profitable enterprises depending on the land size that you own. If you own a small piece of land from say quarter acre up to about 20 acres, you call that small land. We in the ministry, we in the government advise you to get involved in intensive agriculture. The theme for the retreat in Gulu is Battle to Green Field, transforming northern Uganda into a commercial production and logistic hub for export.
A National Unity Platform NUP Party President Robert Kyagulanyi, also known as Bobi Wine, has been hit by a tear gas canister that has shattered his left leg in Bulindo, where he had gone to visit NUP lawyer and human rights defender Fred Musisi. Kyagulanyi has been rushed to Nsambya Hospital for further medical management. At the scene of crime was Waiswa Mufumbiro and other NUP supporters who mobilized timely transport means to Nsambya Hospital. Let's have the highlights of the situation as it unfolded.
I've just heard that Bobi Wine has been shot. This is what's going on. We are in Bulindo and Bobi has been shot. What's going on right now? He was planning to this is what's going on. We just had that he has allegedly been shot.
Very unfortunate, of course, what happened to Mr. Kyagulanyi there. Now, the former leader of the opposition, Professor Maurice Latigo, says he is not bothered by the angry reactions from supporters of Dr. Kizza Besigye and Robert Kyagulanyi following his recent comments on opposition party leaders. Professor Latigo warned Ugandans against supporting Bobi Wine and Dr. Besigye, stating that they have no clear alternative policies addressing the problems facing the country. Take a watch.
The article was fundamentally telling Ugandans, stop this nonsense, that the solution to our country lies in the hands of individuals.
Former leader of the opposition, Professor Maurice Latigo, has no kind words for the angry supporters of Dr. Kizza Besigye and Bobi Wine, who have been attacking him on social media following his recent article. In the article, he warned Ugandans to avoid following leaders who do not offer clear alternative solutions to the country's problems.
You see, the problem now, opposition is about being in parliament and being in party headquarters, and then holding big rallies that will attract the wrath of government. You don't need to do that. I mean, you have to be smart. Bobi Wine is very smart in sleeping from security. That is one strategy. But the intellectual smartness that makes Ugandans believe that, yes, in these hands, the future is bright. We don't see it.
He calls for leaders to embrace dialogue to save the country from political turmoil.
Now, the role of the opposition would be to offer alternative policy. And you must know your opponent. President Museveni is a guy who likes belligerence. He's a rebel, by the way. Play your game, play it well. That empty posturing will not change things. Let us calm down, talk about the facts. There are too many facts to talk about. The roads, my tractor at home here, this week alone, were collected more than 5 times to go and pull people who are coming from Kitlu. They get stuck. This is the tragedy of our country, and it is a real crisis.
On the recent bill that seeks to amend the Administration of Parliament Act, he cautioned that electing the leader of the opposition is contrary to Commonwealth practices.
No, in the first place, I was an elected leader of opposition because the Administration of Parliament Amendment Act of 2006 provides for the largest party in opposition, which is the official opposition. Not all other parties are recognized as opposition. There is an official opposition. All those positions held by those guys by appointment in law is actually illegal, including Senyonyi's now, because he's supposed to be elected. Now, let them forget this issue of electing the opposition, electing the leader of opposition, because there's only one official opposition. So the rest, just learn to live with it. If you want to ally with us, fine. If you want to ally with NRM, go to NRM. So this thing of Lumo is nonsense. Even the courts will not accept it because it will be contrary to Commonwealth practice.
Last week, Mityana South MP Richard Lumo took leave from Parliament to introduce a private member's bill that seeks to amend the Administration of Parliament Act. Lumo is optimistic that the bill will be ready for tabling before the House in 2 weeks. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
Thanks, Olwa, for that story there. Now, the Criminal Investigations Directorate, CID, has warned against attempts to cause chaos during the 2026 general elections. Now, this caution was issued during a press conference by CID and the Directorate of Public Prosecutions, the DPP, as they prepare for their first ever annual general meeting scheduled for September 4th to 5th, 2024.
The 2026 general elections are approaching, and this period often brings challenges related to crime and instability. Ensuring a secure and free electoral process requires significant security involvement. The CID and the DPP will hold their first annual meeting to discuss strategies for maintaining a peaceful electoral process in 2026.
DPP and Director CID have put in place approaches to strengthen prosecutors and investigators and ensure successful investigation and prosecution of criminal cases.
The meeting set for September 4th and 5th, 2024 aims to develop strategies for ensuring a smooth electoral process.
In preparation for the upcoming election period, coupled, of course, with the need to strengthen collaboration to counter sophisticated and emerging crime trends, manifesting in various crimes, enhance preparation for effective and efficient execution of the investigation and prosecution function in electoral offences during the 2026 election period.
Lady Justice Jane Francis Abodo, head of the DPP, and Major Tom Magambo, director of CID, emphasized the need for stronger coordination between investigators and prosecutors to effectively tackle complex crimes.
Let's say even just for one day, police lays down, CID lays down their tools, the office of the DPP also lays down their tools. What's going to be happening? The criminals are going to be all over the place. And if the criminals are all over the place, if we are not working, which means there are no cases investigated, which means there are no cases taken to court, there's no one being held accountable, and which investor can actually come to invest?
The purpose of these forums is to try to check the boxes. Are we moving well? We are aware some of our elements within are still having deviant behavior out there. So when we sit inside here, we are going to discuss all those, the discipline.
Lady Justice Abodo addressed the allegations of collusion with the CID to suppress opposition supporters, dismissing them as unfounded.
We don't know colors, we don't know parties. We don't do politics, we just do the law. Really, it is just, we just look at the crime. If it is a person from opposition who has committed the crime, yes, we shall definitely arrest the person, and if there's evidence, take them to court.
Both Abodo and Magambo assured Ugandans of their commitment to addressing all criminal matters, despite facing challenges.
We are going to be handling corruption cases. We're going to be handling cases, electoral cases. We are going to be handling land cases as well, because we realized as an office, together with the CID, that we have a problem with land matters.
As I said, we are going to operate within the Constitution. And that's why the DPP is here. That's why the DPP is supposed to guide me.
The meeting to be held at CID headquarters will be graced by President Museveni on September 5th, 2024, and will be attended by over 600 delegates. Amwae Vanjuko and Deborah Namamonde for UBC.
The NRM Secretary General Richard Todwong has addressed over 1,000 leaders at the National Leadership Institute, Kyagulanyi, and Oliver Tambo School of Leadership. The leaders from 10 districts have been advised to shun politics of intrigue and conflict that hinder development. The 10-day retreat is organized by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Over 1,000 leaders from 10 districts are undergoing leadership training at the National Leadership Institute, Kyagulanyi, and Oliver Tambo School of Leadership. The training, which started on August 26, 2024, is organized by the Office of the Prime Minister.
We must begin involving ourselves fully in wealth creation, because wealth creation is now a new model.
The NRM Secretary General Richard Todwong has delivered a public lecture to the leaders. Todwong discouraged intrigue and conflict, stating that such tendencies affect service delivery.
And I also asked them to be the center of conflict resolutions among people, and especially starting with themselves, because we have so many districts where leaders are conflicting with one another, and that affects the performance of that particular district. So I was encouraging them to resolve those minor conflicts and focus on the main goal of serving the people that have mandated them to serve them.
He tasked leaders with addressing the burden caused by the increasing number of graduates who are currently unemployed and same-skilled.
Transformation and leadership is not a one-off. It's a constant struggle. It's a progress. Every time a leader resolves a problem, another contradiction comes, another challenge comes. So leadership is a continuous work. You don't lead and thinking that you lead from point A to Z and you finish. No, because every time when society grows like human beings. The needs, the interests do change, and they keep changing. And when they keep changing, leaders should also be dynamic to change policies.
Todwong also welcomed the new party supporters who have denounced their membership in NUP and UPC.
Our enemy is not UPC, not anybody. Our enemies are poverty, sicknesses, backwardness. We need forces to fight those enemies. So whoever is still there who wish to join us, let him or her come, we join hands and fight our common enemies.
They were just anxious to join NRM. I think for a long time they did not know what NRM stands for. When I explained to them, when I talked to them, they realized they were fighting for what they shouldn't be fighting for. Because our issues are similar and common, and so they should join hands. So that we focus on the real issues, not fighting ourselves.
Those attending the training at Nali hail from the districts of Kiboga, Masaka, Yumbe, Kibuku and Kibali, while those at Keweta came from Nakasongola, Gomba, Mbara, Kalungu and Mbara City.
It has been a good induction on service delivery. How a leader should deliver. A leader should be an example. A leader should work.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will preside over the closure of the 2 workshops on September 8, 2024. Robert Nyanga, UBC News.
You used to tell me that I don't make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Once upon a time, there lived identical twins who gave birth to beautiful princes and princesses.
Their mothers gave their babies' bodies a lot of care by applying on their skin with baby Junior jelly.
Though dried their chariots and everyone would admire their glowing skin. Fun fact, baby Junior prevents diaper rash, dry and sensitive skin.
Moms all over Africa love baby Junior jelly. Baby Junior's the skin. No more worries anymore. Baby Junior.
Baby Junior.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
Sometimes the pressure of paying taxes can feel overwhelming. The temptation to cut corners and underdeclare your income may creep in. But before you make that choice, consider the cost. Underdeclaring taxes might seem like an easy way out, but the consequences can be severe. URA offers resources and payment plans to help you manage your taxes. You can pay in installments if it's difficult to pay in full. Transparency is key. Avoid penalties and unexpected liabilities by reporting everything accurately. To report corruption, call URA on our toll-free lines. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. A warm welcome to those of you just joining us. Now, North Kyoga Territorial Police has appealed to the public to support investigations and prosecutions of defilement cases. According to a police report, out of 190 defilement cases registered between May and July, only 5 have resulted in convictions. The low conviction rate is attributed to several challenges, including a lack of cooperation from complainants and witnesses, limited resources, and delayed reporting of incidents.
Immediately after getting I think people just come for purposes of getting case references. But when they get back home, they initiate a process of negotiation, which is a very challenging matter. And sometimes when a complainant comes back to the police or doesn't come back at all, it becomes very tricky for us investigating institution for seeing that justice is realized. A case in point With May, June, and July. We registered 190 cases of defilement. The ones that are undergoing inquiries are 124. Cases that have been put away are 10 so far. Cases taken to court are 56. The ones that we've made convictions are only 5. And also we have little support from complainant during investigation because the interest moves away, okay? Loss of interest from the complainant, probably from the relatives. And another challenge is we lack a police surgeon in this region for purposes of filling a police form 3A and police form 24A. So I think with this, our leader.
The Local Government Finance Commission is advocating for a national health insurance policy to ensure equity and quality healthcare services for all citizens. The initiative involves negotiating conditional grants with the Ministry of Health for the fiscal year 2025-2026. It was observed that Uganda is still grappling with unexpectedly high medical costs imposed on citizens when seeking medical interventions.
Uganda's healthcare system remains limited in providing basic services in rural areas, leading to a high disease burden and a high prevalence of infectious diseases. The negotiations between the Local Government Finance Commission and the Ministry of Health underscore the need for a national health insurance policy to alleviate the high health cost burden on Ugandans.
When the bill is approved by Cabinet and it is presented Parliament, the local governments want to be consulted at when it is being considered by the Committee on Health, so that they have their input because they know better what is taking place at the lower local, with our people at the grassroots.
We would like to have a slot where the local governments to contribute to that deal, whether at the committee point or at a time when you are, I think it must be at the committee point.
Coming of this health policy will relieve most Ugandans of the burden, but also it will relieve them and enable them to access quality medical services at a time when they need it.
We forwarded the draft bill to Cabinet, and I think until Cabinet pronounces itself, our hands are tied.
Poor waste management, including the disposal of medical waste and dead bodies in town councils, cities and municipal councils, was cited as a major health threat requiring immediate intervention.
We need to have a garbage management system in place, and a garbage management system in place must have a component of how do we manage our landfills, garbage sites. But for us to say we are going to buy trucks to 32 municipalities, 10 cities as a solution for managing garbage, we are going to fail.
We have nowhere to dispose bodies. The incinerators, you find the syringes and what, they are just, disposed in public land or people's gardens, in so many hospitals and health centers.
The Commission also recommended a review of healthy workers' salaries to ensure uninterrupted patient services.
But what is more disturbing is a situation where some people's salaries have been cut downwards. I think this is unacceptable, and we really appeal to the executive to solve this problem as a matter of urgency.
The scheme of service for the cold chain technician has now been revised. It is now salary scale U5.
The Public Health Act, definitely there are mortuaries which should be under the municipalities or the cities which are under what? Those governments. But you find that most of the municipalities and cities actually do not have what? Mortuaries which should be able to do.
Through the negotiations, the Ministry of Health will implement programs to enhance primary health care, develop health facilities, and improve resource allocation, among other measures. The negotiations between the Local Government Finance Commission and the Ministry of Health have led to numerous achievements, particularly in enhancing healthy facilities across the country. Irene Faith Nantongo, Mary Namukose, UBC News.
Now, the annual CEO Forum hosted by CEO Summit Uganda is underway, gathering top leaders from various industries to tackle critical leadership challenges. This year, the focus is on the responsibility of businesses towards Mother Earth and the urgent challenges posed by climate change. We have more in this story.
As this year's CEO Forum, participants are not only exploring leadership challenges within the organizations, but also reflecting on their roles in addressing environmental issues.
This is a precursor to COP29. We are telling the leaders the same thing. There is that famous 1.5 degrees Celsius. Where are we standing? And that's why I always take us back to saying that Mother Earth is crying. So in your respective industries, if you're in manufacturing, if you're in financial services, or if you're in the services industry, wherever you are, if you're in the informal sector, you could be in Chikubo. As a leader, as someone who has their sphere of control, what are you doing about the sphere of control that you have to make sure that you're not making Mother Earth cry? So that's an aspect that we are going to push, and even beyond the forum.
The forum provides a platform for industry leaders to reassess their leadership approaches, emphasizing the need to integrate sustainability and climate action into their strategies.
What are we doing about it? So these are all things that we are going to be very, very pertinent on during the CEO Forum, encouraging our leaders to walk the talk, but at the same time to champion these, because now if you talk about SDGs, come 2030, are we ready?
Environmental part, like we are saying, we have only one Earth, there is no planet B. We don't have an umbilical cord from planet that is getting sources or resources from anywhere else. So we are saying at the annual CEO Forum, come, let's discuss what impact your business is having on the environment. Yeah, it spans across the whole arena of different sectors in which we are. I mean, look at the transport business.
A key focus is on how businesses can contribute to mitigating the effects of climate change, with discussions on aligning corporate practices with global sustainability goals. Attendees are expected to live with actionable strategies to enhance their leadership effectiveness while also making a positive impact on the environment.
To collaborate with this initiative and this 2024 forum to promote the mainstreaming of ESG across sectors, particularly targeting the banking sector and the agribusiness sector.
MTN, we look at it in 4 ways, but they're all linked to ESG. One is we do it for the planet, okay, which would call the environmental. We then we do it for the people, which is the social, and then we do it right, which is around governance.
As the CEO Forum continues, the discussions are set to influence how Uganda's business leaders address the twin challenges of economic growth and environmental stewardship. The event underscores the importance of sustainable leadership in a rapidly changing global market. Sandra Kahunde, Robert Katamba, UBC News.
Youth climate activists from Extinction Rebellion have planted trees in Banda, Kampala, as part of their efforts to address climate challenges caused by deforestation. Coordinator Mukisa Rogers and National Forestry Authority Supervisor Angela Nachiwanuka expressed concern about the ongoing tree cutting without replanting, which threatens to push the country towards desertification.
We love the nature, but then trees have been cut down. So if we love it, how best can we see that what we love is really being cared for.
The XR Extinction Rebellion group is advocating against deforestation by planting trees, and today has been in Banda, Kampala, and is set to promote this initiative nationwide.
Our aim of this anti-deforestation destruction action is to restore our nature in Uganda. Uganda is a part of Africa, but if you look at the massive cutting of trees and even the forests we have been having, they are kind of being limited because of this massive cutting of trees.
A government charcoal survey indicates that trees are being cut down for charcoal in Nakasongola, Nakaseke and Luero, with Kampala being a major charcoal market. Many people are reluctant to replant, especially indigenous trees, due to their slow growth, preferring quicker financial gains.
Since we are encouraging people to plant indigenous, they don't like. They like this one for eucalyptus, pine for quick money. Yet indigenous is good, because whenever they come here, they ask you, what is that tree? You tell them, but it's mahogany. How long? You tell them, but cutting in 25 years old and plus, they reject.
Yes, there's a lot of issues of trees being cut down for a number of reasons where we get the charcoal, but then how best can we replace this? If the youth do not step up and educate the community on how best this can be sidelined besides the need that we have in our country as Uganda.
Despite the Uganda Forestry Policy and National Environmental Management Policy, deforestation persists. Uganda has lost 41.6% of its forest cover over the past century.
We are here to create an awareness that let's plant trees. We shouldn't just cut trees and we shouldn't replace. We have to replace the trees so that we save the nation. Because as we all aware, the future generation are the youth. If we don't save our children, then like in future, like we are killing them, where will they go?
So our call is to the community members, more so country at large, that we can start restoring our nature by planting trees. Where you cut a tree, you need to put a younger one, so that we don't go desertification.
This campaign aims to raise awareness about the importance of restoring Uganda's forest cover through afforestation and reforestation efforts. Crispus Arinitwe, UBC News.
UBC News Tonight will now take a short break, but will return with the latest in business.
Uganda, are you ready to kick things up to the next level? The Uganda National Lottery brings you Sports Stake 10. Predict the results of 10 football games and win big. With tickets at only 500 shillings, join the fun and make your predictions count with Sports Stake 10. Sports Stake 10, your ticket to football glory.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Uganda fire! Endiva fire! Our border fire! Uganda! Thank you for showing your fire! Has Nabole Stadium opened its doors once again? Fire! While you were moving in, you were the 12th player when Uganda Cranes needed you the most. Fire! Through our famous wins against Tubakunda and our unlucky losses, you stood firm, supporting even louder. Fire, fire. Now, as Uganda Cranes take on South Africa and Congo this September, South Sudan in October, and play our second legs against South Africa and Congo in November, bring even more fire! Because with your support, Uganda Cranes is unstoppable! Uganda fire! Proudly brought to you by MTN, the #1 supporter of Uganda Cranes. Together, we are unstoppable.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
It's true what people say, that when I wash and you wash your hands with soap, we'll have less infections as Ugandans. After all, it's hands that handle money. It's hands that feed us. Hands that prepare soil for farming. Hands that we use to learn. And hands that we use for fun.
When I wash and you wash, it means clean hands for all. So, wash your hands with soap and clean water regularly to keep away infections and disease-causing germs. This message is from the National Hand Washing Secretariat with support from UNICEF.
Welcome back. Let's have a look now at the latest in business. Traders are urging government to reduce taxation on imported goods to enable fair competition with retail investors. Now, this call comes in the wake of the opening of the Chinatown superstore, which traders fear will negatively impact their businesses due to its low prices.
As you approach Lugogo Mall, the scene is unusually busy, with crowds queuing to access Chinatown stores, drawn by relatively cheap prices of commodities. In the days following the opening of Chinatown stores in Uganda, traders have requested government to consider reducing taxes on imported goods to help Ugandan businesses remain competitive. While the store's proprietors deny claims of selling substandard and low-quality products, traders are calling for government restrictions of Chinatown's operations to manufacturing.
Our prices are not abnormal. For a start, as we launch, we wanted to have that little deductions on some prices so that our customers can appreciate our products. And also because of the few gifts that we're giving out on some of our raffles that we had put in place, we managed to give out several things like fridges and TVs. I think people had the excitement that everything now here, they will be able to win. So I think most people here might have come to win these items. Trade. Cycle ya trade obo gikoze ki ogisse fe bannansi banna Uganda omuchina agende mu factory and manufacturing ebintu tugende mu factory tubimujjeko tubisobola bigulako nesa zino okugamba mbu omuchina ze asa akatale sawa zino ali mu China market simanya ne picha atanze gituna mitwalo 10 kati for na Uganda tugoyingewa.
With the stores closed for the second consecutive day, the management has pledged to cooperate with the police and adhere to standard operating procedures for reopening. So make sure that the barriers which can contain the crowd and also do bring in some sniffer dogs to make sure that there is no any kind of terror suspicion or attack for this place. Because we have always we have heard of some alerts, but police is working around all the corners to see that all the situation is handled. They have been with us from day one. Given the discounted prices, it remains to be seen how the stores will fare in the coming days, especially considering the history of similar stores closing in Uganda. Komagum Rogers for UBC.
To Entebbe now, where Entebbe municipality authorities have inspected the ongoing construction of the Chitoro taxi park, currently in its second phase. They have assured the business community and taxi drivers that the park will be ready for operation by the end of this month. Now, this inspection follows an incident where taxi drivers and conductors illegally entered the park and began operations without guidance from the municipality, citing delays in the completion of the construction, which have affected their operations.
Entebbe municipality leaders, led by Mayor Fabrice Rulinda and Town Clerk Emmanuel Gachalu, have inspected the construction works at Chitoro Tax Park to assess its readiness.
As they do these final touches, we have gone into our process of final allocations, the rates and all that, to allow the taxi park operate smoothly within the next few days or weeks. So we are hoping that by the close of this month, we would have everybody in here and working.
The inspection came in response to an accident where taxi drivers and conductors began operating in the park without permission. Abiola Walakira, the chairperson of Entebbe Taxi Drivers and Conductors Association, accused authorities of delays in completing the park, which has impacted their operations.
So we are able to accommodate the two kinds of passengers. One, the ones that are not in too much hurry, those will be passing around Kajans and onwards. We know that competition is lively and we are ready to tackle it in that manner because we are very much prepared.
Tuzze twagala okutegeeza bannantebe nti tukomyewo okubaweereza mu mpeereza ennungi nga tusomeseza abadriver baffe oboolyawo ne bakondakita abamu okubeera nti bawa services ennungi.
Residents and other leaders expressed their excitement and outlined the benefits that the reopening of the park will bring to Entebbe municipality.
So once the informal sector is organized in a way like this, the country also benefits. And when a facility like this is for the informal sector, it's going to help the municipality as we plan to become a city.
Mayor Fabrice Rulinda assured Entebbe business community and taxi drivers who were previously operating under less favorable conditions that they must follow the protocols that have been established.
We want to hand over something to the people that is safe, something that they can utilize without fear that it's not done properly. There are standards that have to be maintained and we are making sure that they are followed. As for who will operate the taxi park, we will tender it out and ensure that it runs like we're running all the other our other council places like the markets and the parks.
The construction of Chitoro Tax Park began in 2018, with the first phase completed in 2020 at a cost of 7.2 billion shillings. The second phase, which involves adding a second floor and completing the park, commenced in 2020 and is expected to cost 5 billion shillings, funded under the Use Made project. Charity Marion Imnat and Sula Kagugube, UBC News.
Now, parliamentary leaders from across Africa are embracing new ground in the field of agriculture. They have visited a high-tech agricultural zone in Shanxi province. CGTN's Feng Yilei reports on how cutting-edge technologies could potentially transform the world of farming back in their home countries.
In Shanxi's Jingzhong zone, it's not just crops that are growing, it's new possibilities also. Parliamentarians from different African nations are getting a taste of China's recipe for modern farming success. From smart irrigation systems and automated greenhouses to the latest crop genetics, experts say a smorgasbord of innovation holds significant potential for African countries grappling with food insecurity.
You've got large-scale automation of your agriculture industry, but also heavily involved in research and development. So this is where we can benefit and mutually cooperate. So we need to see how during the dry season you can still produce the same crops that you would produce in the rainy season.
I believe these new varieties and technologies, such as our drought-resistant organic crops and our water-saving techniques, have great potential in developing countries, especially in Africa. We are eager to share these innovations without a reservation.
After decades of determined efforts, China has successfully addressed the issue of feeding its massive population and deeply understands the fight against hunger in Africa. Recently, the cooperation between China and African countries has borne fruit, which is expected to also enrich the grain bags and the vegetable baskets of African people. The visit is also opening doors for potential collaborations in agricultural research and education.
China provides Somalia with scholarships. Some Somali students are coming to China and learning agriculture and technologies, and this can be replicated back to Somalia. Somalia has fertile ground and land for agriculture, so that we will build partnership relations with China in these areas in the future time.
The state-of-the-art facility and exchange of ideas has left these leaders hungry for more. At the upcoming summit on China-African Cooperation Forum, the parliamentarians say they expect deeper collaboration in related sectors.
Look at what we have been seeing there, your tomatoes producing, tomato juice. From the tomato juice, you can get something. So I see a value chain industries here, aligned to what at home our president has been preaching, to say out of the different products, let's just find the value chains out of those products so that we can grow our economy as a country.
I think generally the whole plan is to have a structure where you can continue that cooperation and the farmers can also do it on their own rather than rely on the government for the contacts.
When these African lawmakers head home, they're expected to be armed with high-tech solutions and budding partnerships that could revolutionize farming, sowing seeds for a bumper crop in future. Feng Yilei, CGTN, Taiyuan, Shanxi Province.
Meanwhile, China and African countries have been ramping up cooperation in coping with extreme weather events and the effects of climate change. As African leaders convene in Beijing for the China-Africa Trade Summit, China and countries in Africa are engaging cooperation to address worst climate change situations in Africa. Take a watch.
Many African countries have been vulnerable to extreme weather events. Climate change has made the situation even worse. For more than 10 years now, China and countries in Africa have been ramping up meteorological cooperation to address just that.
Over the past decade or more, the CMA had been in comprehensive cooperation with African countries. Just last year, we signed meteorological science and technology cooperation agreements with South Africa and Ethiopia. People from most African countries have come to China for training and other exchanges. We have also provided around 10 African countries meteorological equipment, forecasting and early warning technical support, including Fengyun satellite receiving stations, automatic weather stations, early warning radios, and meteorological studios.
Xu said these exchanges have been well received. Statistics from Zimbabwe found that the country's meteorological operations improved by 60% thanks to the two countries' cooperation.
We're currently working with the Ethiopian Meteorological Agency to jointly develop a cloud-based early warning system based on traditional data forecasting models and the latest AI meteorological models. This system will provide Ethiopia with forecasting and early warning support for floods, droughts, sandstorms, and other weather events. If it's good, we will also promote it among other interested African countries.
Beijing is also ready to employ its capable Fengyun meteorological satellites and other data resources to support African countries in their disaster prevention and mitigation efforts, as well as addressing climate change. Sun Ye, CGTN, Beijing.
Sports news now, and a long-serving sports administrator, Jocelyn Uchanda, has advised Uganda's sports personalities to embrace hard work and discipline to ease their passage to success. She was at the 40-bet Real Stars Monthly Sports Awards, during which she received a legendary award for service towards sports. John Van Centamore reports.
Uganda's best sports performers of the month of August have been rewarded.
This was during the Fortebet Real Star Monthly Sports Award, hosted at Lazo Restaurant in Kololo. This time round, the organizers zeroed in on 3 sports disciplines of basketball, boxing, and football. For basketball, Lydia Babidi for tournament's most valuable player Gongen, guiding Uganda to the Africa 3x3 crown, beat all others. Boxer John Terunjoji outclassed Egyptian Ahmed Borusen for the African Boxing Union middleweight title, and in the process won many hearts, and obviously the best of August in his trade. The appeal of the Masazaga of Uganda was hard to resist in choosing the best footballer, an honor that went to single Saza goalkeeper Julius Senyonga after managing 3 clean sheets in 3 games that kept his team alive in the title chase.
Singo nere ekomyewo luli yatukuba era twaba wa singo ne leero nali agadde wa Kyaggwe ne lwokuba tulina kukola mazima omuntu adeservinga gwe tuwa wadde nze ndi wa Kyaggwe ne tetulina bakufuna n'omu wa Kyaggwe ayitawo naye kuno era singa asobodde okomyawo goalkeeper waabwe era nga akikute Julius yabadde musajja musufu nnyo asobola okuba akuma clean sheets bayiseewo ttiimu yaabwe yemu twasinza okuŋŋaanya obubonero obungi mu group stages so abadde adeservinga okusobola okuba nga agenda maaso.
Once in a while, the organizers of these awards dish out a lifetime award for service towards sport, which has gone to Jocelyn Ochanda, whose love for netball is not questioned. Ochanda applauded the organizers for recognizing her efforts and offered counsel to athletes about how to conquer the world.
Whether you are in a huge stadium, whether you are in a small stadium, focus on what you do, you'll always excel. And that's why we have excelled. We focus, we are resilient, persistent, we love what we do, and we have values. Relate with people who have values. Don't relate with people who are going to pull you down.
The Fortebet Real Star Monthly Sports Awards have been a mainstay since 2018 and continue to inspire athletes with the plaque and cash reward, a welcome addition to the players' mementos and bank balance.
John Barnes Sentamo reporting there. On to golf now, and 57 teams participated in the ABSA Pro-Am Golf Championship at the Entebbe Golf Club. Among the dominant teams were Pepsi 1, Johnny Walker 1 and ABSA Team 1, each featuring top professional golfers. ABSA Bank Uganda fielded the most teams with 10, including the managing director Mwamba Kalifungwa. Each team was led by a professional golfer, such as the 2022 Uganda Pro Open winner Robson Shinohi, and Entebbe Golf Club female captain Jovia Tugome and Ronald Rukumayo. The professionals used this warm-up event to prepare for their main championship, which tees off tomorrow, Wednesday, September 4th, at the Entebbe Golf Club. The top 5 amateurs and top 5 professionals will earn an all-expenses-paid trip to the 2025 Magical Kenya Open in Nairobi, Kenya.
And golf is one such sport that provides an opportunity for networking, for people to stay healthy. To the players, I wish them the very best of luck. I think one of the things that we look forward to is development of the sport. Seeing our professionals, I believe Rugumai will be playing later on, so we wish them, Rugumai, the very best, and all the other professionals that will be playing on the course from tomorrow, Wednesday, up to Saturday.
Many ladies especially playing in silver. I also participated in silver, and unfortunately the Tanzanians took the win, and this we came to the amateurs, and I was so happy to see one of our own, Kenya Regan, take the win. We had so many representation from Entebbe Club, and I was so proud of that. And it was won by Kenya Regan, who was a few years in juniors, and seeing him winning the amateurs was one of the best moments at Entebbe Club.
I'm happy because I was striking the ball so well. I played the balls where I wanted them, and I'm happy about that, and I'm really looking forward to what the week holds for me. I'm happy about that the game is growing, and at the same time it's good competition. So personally, I have my targets, I have my game plan. So I'm not playing anyone, I'm just playing me against my targets and my plan. I'm rooting for my fellow Ugandans, but at the end of the tournament, the best player will win. So I'm rooting for my fellow Ugandans. Let's put our head down and we make everyone proud, we make our country proud.
Golf Rugumayo ending that report there. And that brings us to the end of this edition. Thank you so much for having kept us company. On sign language, it has been Senyomo Yusuf, and I am Rukidi Kiijanangoma. But do remember that our second and final edition tonight will come your way at 10 p.m. See you then.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome to Behind the Headlines. This week, we are shining the spotlight on a critical issue affecting us all, our health and well-being. Promoting health and well-being, strategies for improving public health in Uganda. Join our expert panel as we delve into the challenges and solutions for improving public health in Uganda. From innovative community programs to policy changes, we shall explore it all. Behind the Headlines brings you the conversations that matter. Join us this Wednesday at 10 p.m. as we go behind the headlines to uncover the stories that shape our lives, promoting health and well-being. This Wednesday at 10 p.m. Don't miss it.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
It is not albinism. It is not a cancer. It is not witchcraft. It is not that one has HIV/AIDS. It is not contagious. Does not spread through close contact, touching or sharing personal items. No way is it linked to being burnt by twins. It is called vitiligo.
A very good evening to you. My name is Sophia Matovu. Thank you for joining me on yet another edition of the Vitiligo Stories. Now today we take a little twist and turn. Most of the stories we've been bringing for you are actually the persons who are telling their stories on vitiligo. But today, this is a rather unique episode where I met a young man, an artist, who has devoted his life into doing portraits on vitiligo. And that is none other than Martin Senkobuge. I'm down at his art studio in Bolindo, and let's get to see the wonderful works that he's doing and what actually inspires somebody to invest all their energy and time into doing portraits on vitiligo.
I'm Martin Senkobuge, and I'm a visual artist, a researcher, and a curator. And I do create hyper-realistic drawings with some bits of abstract messages, and basically to visually amplify the vitiligo voices, to add on what these people already have out there. So I do my research in terms of I concentrate on vitiligo, and I try as much as possible to be very keen in my processes to ensure that I make this an experience other than just creating objects. So it's basically what I do, and I dedicated my entire art career to create vitiligo art movement as a permanent strategy to a long-term challenge. And yeah, basically it's what I do. Why vitiligo? It is an interesting question, actually, which I have constantly asked myself as well. Why vitiligo? Wouldn't I decide and actually draw something else, use my creativity, my extreme talent to do something that would actually make some quick money for me. And because why I say that is that from the time I started drawing in 2019, I haven't sold any artwork of vitiligo. People have shown up, yes, they would want to purchase, they love the work, but it's kind of, the market I placed my work is kind of expensive, and